a lot of people are using trial reel specific strategies to bring in new people because they know that only non-followers are getting it. So they'll say things like, this is a trial reel, and if you're not following me, here's what we're about, and like that sort of thing, as a way to reach people who are not following them.
Welcome back to Marketing from X to Z, a podcast about digital marketing for small businesses. We're your hosts.
I'm Liz Bachman with Wildflower Social Media.
And I'm Mike Albuquerque with Bear Double. And Liz, what are we talking about today?
Today we're talking about Instagram.
Okay, all right, so this is the fun one because that's your area of expertise. So I get to play the role of interviewer here.
Yeah, it's your turn to do that this time.
Yeah, there we go. I'm going to learn all sorts of things, so I'm looking forward to this. Because this is a world that is ever changing.
Yes.
Right? I mean, when we're talking about social media and we're talking about Instagram, there are always, feels like there's always changes to the algorithm. I'm always getting, people, the videos popping up saying new things that are happening.
Yeah.
So we're now at the beginning of 2026, and what is going on with Instagram, right? It feels like there's been some changes, and there's probably been a new way that we are, creating content, things that are working differently. So let me start with this. What is one strategy that, maybe worked in 2025 or even in 2024 that's now just completely dead?
Well, I mean, completely dead is really a very strong word for it. But what I find is that we've had a lot of push to create a ton of content, especially that low effort, copying everybody else, hop on this thing content. And in all honesty, if you're a client of mine or you've spoken to me before, I've been telling you not to do this for the last couple of years, but we're seeing a lot more people step away from it. And part of that's because quantity over quality, like that whole conversation, it is always, both is the ideal if you have unlimited budget and unlimited time and can do all the things. However, there was more of an argument for quantity before, but now that there's AI and you can just churn out really low quality, really non-specific content, you're seeing a lot more of a return for your brand equity and for your effort when you put in the time to do content well. So taking the time to script, taking the time to be intentional, it's all going to be a really, really big part of this. And a lot of the changes that have happened inside of Instagram recently, they very much mirror that. So I'm going to talk about this a little bit more as we get into the episode, but things like, have you noticed that your DM button moved? Because it did. Yeah. You are able to make changes to your own algorithm now, something that you have never been able to do before. And honestly, it's a little bit of a risk because they're giving you a little bit more control, which I'm interested to see how long that lasts. Yeah. So thinking about that, another area that we're seeing people really steer away from is this super unapproachable mega influencer. Because I'm sorry, it is super not cute to watch you do a haul of somebody's mortgage amount of junk when people are taking on debt to buy groceries. Yeah. It's just very out of touch for reality right now. And I'm not saying that those types of people cannot exist and will not continue to perform in entertainment, but breaking into those spaces, it feels very unapproachable. It feels very gross. And what we're seeing because of that is the rise of something called what people have been terming as a comfort creator, which instead of somebody preaching at you or look at this amazing thing that I have, it's really more of being brought along a journey with people, and it's a little bit messier, and it's maybe not showing up as I am the authority. It's more I'm like you and we're doing this. So, and that's in the creator space, but there's a lot of places that you can pull that as a business owner and leverage that, especially as a small business owner, where one of the benefits of being a small business owner is you are a small business owner and you get to have that type of flexibility.
Well, and I think the idea of the business owner that brings someone for a journey, right? I mean, that seems like it's a great way to get buy-in from potential customers and people who want to engage with your story.
Yeah, exactly.
Bring them along for the ride.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm not telling you to be absolutely and utterly unprofessional, but what I will tell you is on my personal brand, I have videos of me folding laundry and working through and showing the behind the scenes of being messy, because being a business owner, very time consuming. Yeah. It's lots of moving parts.
This all takes time and effort, right?
And so showing that I am a very, like, I'm a successful and competent adult.
Mhm.
But the idea in my head, largely because of the ideas that I'd seen on social of what that looks like in a home, where you've pushed all the junk to the side and you've got the clean back, like
Yeah.
pushing up against that, those are my best performing videos. The videos where I'm acknowledging that I am human. And that's anecdotal, but it's also like you can see it across the board.
Absolutely, that makes sense. Okay, so I want to ask a question about something that I've noticed when going around on social. So, I mean, sometimes like you see people who have a ton of socials on it, or a ton of followers on Instagram, and like they might have like 100,000 followers, 200, whatever, and their engagement is like just incredibly low. Versus these other creators that will have like a brand new account and all of a sudden, like they have just a few different posts and people are connecting with them, and like, is follower now officially a vanity metric? Are we leaving that behind? And
Sort of. Okay,
uh-huh.
so first, the large accounts with absolutely abysmal engagement. Okay, so part of that is the way that they built that following is that mega influencer thing that people are not connecting to anymore.
Okay.
So there is like, because there have been like the larger influencers who have gotten online and been like, nobody likes my stuff anymore. And it's like, well, yeah, because you're so focused on you that you lost track of your consumer. That's a theme. Make sure you note that one, because that's really
Uh-huh.
important, right? Like if you start noticing you're producing a certain type of content and nobody's engaging, you don't just keep creating more of that.
Uh-huh.
You adapt. People buy followers,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? That's a really common thing. And so engagement doesn't match when you've bought that.
And that seems like it's, I mean, I know it's true on some platforms more than other. I feel like on Instagram
It's a very
that's been
common
the,
thing.
that was very common,
It's
right?
a very, very, very common thing. Or like the remnants of those follow loop type things that they did like a couple years
Yeah.
ago.
Follow for follow, the follow trains and all
And
that.
there's a new variation of that. I don't know if you've seen it, which is on people will share a trial reel and say, "I'm going to follow back anybody who follows me from this reel."
Yeah.
No, no, because you have to think about why they're doing it. And if you're trying to, run a business off of this, it needs to tie back to your business goals, not to your feel-good goals.
Fair.
So, like, because a bunch of competitors following you on your account that are not going to engage with your content, they just followed you, so you'd follow them. That's not doing you any good in any capacity. So,
Exactly. And now I want us to take a quick break here from the question, just because you mentioned something, trial reels,
I'm
right? So, could you clarify that for the audience?
yeah, okay. So there is a feature that has been being tested on Instagram for a long time. It got rolled out, I believe, to people with over 1,000 followers, like across the board, and to some people who have under it. But you know how it is or you may not know how it is when Instagram rolls out a new feature. When Instagram rolls out a new feature, they say they roll it out to everybody, but there are so many devices on so many different iOSs and so many, like, it's coming to you if you don't have it yet. But what that is a reel that you put out that only gets distributed to people who do not follow you. And
Okay.
if that reel performs well, then what they're going to do is they are going to give you the option to share it to your feed.
Uh-huh.
Now, it's a great opportunity for testing different types of content. Like, there's a lot of fear sometimes when it comes to sharing new types of content of, oh, is this going to make my like current base upset and all this other stuff. I personally don't think you really need to worry about that. But if it is something that is worrying you, trial reels are a really good way to look at that.
Okay.
However, a lot of people are using trial reel specific strategies to bring in new people because they know that only non-followers are getting it. So they'll say things like, this is a trial reel, and if you're not following me, here's what we're about, and like that sort of thing,
Okay.
as a way to reach people who are not following them.
That's a great strategy then for, as we're coming into this new year and this feature is being rolled out,
Yeah,
something
so
people want
it's
to leverage.
yeah, so and you want to think of it in like different ways for doing different types of messaging, different types of call outs,
Uh-huh.
because you can be very specific in a call out on a trial reel without feeling like you're going to isolate somebody on your main feed because they're not going to see it.
Yeah. Yep. Fair enough.
But I also think that lines up with your question about followers and how important followers are.
Yes.
Because I was going to circle back to trial reels here. Followers are important, because they allow you to serve a larger base of like when content goes out, it gets served to a group of people. And then that group of people, they either watch it all the way through and engage with it or whatever, or they don't. And then based on that, Instagram then sends it out to others, right? So when you have a larger follower base, that initial pool is larger.
I see.
Okay, so that's important.
So it's still a benefit.
There's still a benefit to it, but because there's the trial reels, you can see that they're kind of pulling away a little bit from that benefit. So I think that that's really, really interesting. You've also got these different features like broadcast channels and subscriptions inside of the Instagram app that get unlocked. So from a monetization perspective, the subscriber channels, they get unlocked at a certain follower count. I don't remember it off the top of my head. It's probably like 10,000 or something, but I don't remember it off the top of my head. But you've also got broadcast channels that you can do, which is more like it'll send a notification as if you sent them a DM.
Okay.
And like, so if you have more followers, you have more automated invitations to invite people to your broadcast channels, which is almost like turning on the little ding thing on like the little notification button. So if followers are not everything, they have not been everything in a very long time. There are benefits to it. There's also social proof with having more followers.
That's true.
That's there as well.
You get bragging rights, right?
Well, you do, but you also get legitimacy in a lot of ways. Because I think social media is starting to really be a way that people look up and understand brands. And if you see a brand that has 24 followers and they say they've been in business for 5, 10 years, you're like, okay, like, are you sure? Like, so I don't know. That's kind of a long answer to your question about followers. But yeah.
Well, then let's go into organic reach. Like, is organic, I mean, does it seem to be lowering? I mean, that's kind of my impression. And if so, is organic reach dying, or do you think it's just kind of changing?
It's changing.
Okay.
So it's not doing anything to suppress your content. Like nothing bad is happening here. The more content that is created, the more competition there is for attention. The more competition there is for attention, the better content you have to create and more interesting content you have to create in order to get that attention.
Okay.
So like not to say it mean, but like it you need. It's also we've changed a little bit about how like things are being prioritized. So thinking about retention rate. How far into the carousel are they swiping? How far into the video are they watching? Like that sort of thing, watch time and retention rate, rather than focusing on like likes is going to be a big thing for you as well.
All right. It makes sense because I mean you can like a video and just scroll forward versus
and a lot of people do
sit there
that.
and watch. I mean, I do that to my own.
Yeah, no, I asked my mom the other day. She like likes all of my content, and I was like, yeah, like you saw in that video that I did this, and this, and she's like, oh, honey, I didn't watch that. Thanks, Mom. But she engaged with it because I'm
gonna clip that and send it to her.
I'm going to.
It's okay. My mom watches my videos and she doesn't even understand English, so.
Regardless, so organic reach. Now, there are other social platforms. This is specifically about Instagram, but there are other social platforms that organic reach is like is really becoming lower. This is really about quality of content.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Now, social media seems to have shifted, and especially, I mean, specifically Instagram. I mean, there's this shift in terms of how it's been used over the past couple of years, and it looks like we're getting on the realm where whereas my generation might be going to look up a business on their website or on a certain platform, with the younger generation, Gen Z and Gen Alpha, they're coming to Instagram to see if the business is there, what that experience is like. It's becoming really like a search engine for businesses. Should a brand change the way that they are writing captions to show up more on certain search results, or like what can they do to help themselves there?
Okay, so there's a couple of things here. This has been happening for a while. We're talking about it now. We've been talking about it for like the last 6 months. I published an article in 2022 talking about social media and SEO keywords. It has been shifting towards being a search engine for a long time. So when you think about creating content, you want to make sure that you're using keywords in your captions, and I do not mean keyword stuffing your captions because that doesn't work on your website anymore, let alone on social media.
Yeah. And keyword stuffing, for anyone who doesn't understand that, that's just where you take the keyword and you put it in the copy in a way that clearly isn't meant for humans to read, right?
Yeah.
You're just trying to get that key phrase in there repeatedly.
Yeah, yeah. So basically, you need to provide context on things as a business if you want to show up for search. So this is actually one of the ways that I think there's a big difference between how content creators post versus businesses need to be posting. Because content creators, I still think you can get away with the quippy little like 1 to 2 sentence like thing. Businesses really can't. And that you need the context in place. So when somebody searches, website in Atlanta, that you can come up. But there's also, it's not just in the post itself. It's also going to be like in your name field and in your bio, making sure that it makes sense where you are looking to like. You need to make sure that you just give it the context it needs to serve it up.
That makes sense. And that does seem like a shift from where we were a few years back, right? Especially because you just talked about keywords versus hashtags, right? Versus the use, which was like, hey, put like 30 hashtags on your post, and that's the way that you get found. That doesn't seem to be the case anymore. So, what are we doing in terms of like metadata and to make sure that the algorithm knows?
Yeah, so hashtags have been a thing for Instagram or at least since I started using Instagram back in middle school. But no, it used to be that you would add all of these hashtags to have it just go through all of these different feeds. And then it was like, whoa, you're following hashtags and that sort of thing. Instagram is now rolling out that you can only add 5 hashtags to your post.
Yeah.
And they need to be specific for context. So again, we're really looking at being intentional with the language we're using and not just trying to hack something around. Like as these platforms are growing, they're becoming smarter, right? So they're not going to want to be able to fall for something that's kind of hacked. Instead, you need to be thinking about it from the context of what are the keywords here or what are the words that my audience is going to be using in order to find, like, if they typed, this is how I like to think about it. If they typed this key phrase into Instagram and they found my content, and we're forgetting it's my content, but if they found my content, would they be happy with the answer they found?
Yeah.
And that's how you add that context. Like that's the very like rudimentary of like, are you leading them to the thing that's actually going to be helpful to them? What's in it for them?
Got it.
Yeah.
Now, more and more, I open up Instagram and I'm seeing AI slop, right? There's more of it showing us. I mean, it's flooding feeds, and both in terms of videos, but also captions that are AI written captions. Someone will go on ChatGPT, maybe post their video transcript and then have it auto-generate a caption. How does a human strategist help create content that is going to stand out from that so that the business that's posting doesn't get, just fall prey to everything that's going on with AI, right? Just show up as just another one in there.
Okay, AI is not gonna make you different necessarily, at least not at its like initial thing. Like if you are a plumbing company and you go, AI, ChatGPT, please write me a caption promoting my plumbing services. That is not going to help you.
Yeah.
Because it is going to give you the same thing that everybody else has ever written about plumbing. That's not helpful. Now, I actually don't really have a big issue with feeding video transcripts in and using that to build captions. Now, you want to make sure you're reading it and making sure it's aligned, but at least it's getting the context of what makes you different. Because that's the real issue and the thing that strategists can help you manage. Is making sure that you don't lose what makes you different, because what makes you different is what makes people buy things from you. So if you completely lose that, then why would they go with you and not somebody else? Then it becomes price shopping rather than value shopping.
Fair.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So we talked about quality of content. I've noticed that there's like some more like I don't want to say low quality. Let's say lo-fi, right? Some more unpolished content that's posted on Instagram that will outperform the high quality and super great high end video videos that we see there. Do you think that there's a part of the algorithm that is rewarding this like imperfection and this more like personable type of content?
So I'm not a computer scientist, so I don't exactly understand the specific things that the algorithm is triggering, like when it scans through your video. Like that's not really my area of expertise. What I can tell you is that the algorithm rewards content that human behavior rewards
Okay.
because they want to keep you on the app so that they can serve you ads.
Uh-huh.
The longer you're on the app, the more money they can make off of you being on the app.
Uh-huh.
Right? So this, I think, really does fall into the category that we were talking about earlier with the hyper perfect, mega influency type of thing that doesn't feel good anymore, and the AI stuff that looks a little too good to be true. People don't trust it anymore because they've learned that that's not something that should be trusted. So I think that there's some of that. The content, the comfort creator. I think people feel a lot of there's a lot of not positive feelings going on in the world right
Yeah.
now. And so I think people feel comforted in seeing that they're not alone in a lot of ways, which
Yeah.
I think that's a big deal. I also think it's industry dependent.
Okay.
So when we're thinking about the types of industries that put out content like that, like how do I put this? So a small business owner can do a lot of documenting what they're building, right? They can do a lot of documenting what they're building. But if a diamond jewelry company were to start publishing low quality lit, front camera facing, like that, like you would not want to buy your diamonds from there.
Okay.
Right? So it's just, and that's a very extreme example, but like the same thing could be for like a wedding dress.
Yeah.
Or like you need to think about like what the consumer wants from you when you think about the performance there. I personally like to be entertained. I like small business content. I like the roll up your sleeves and get into it. So my feed is full of the lower quality content of people just getting it done because that's what I like. Right? But if I was into luxury items and things like that, there's not going to be as much of that because that does not align with what a luxury consumer actually wants. It's not the experience they want to have.
So it seems like maybe it's not so much about like the quality that the algorithm's rewarding, but it's maybe that quality is more typically used, that lower quality is more commonly used when people are just being more vulnerable, right? And
Yes.
sharing more about their story,
Yes.
feeling less, like they need to have the lights and the, backgrounds and dress up and all that.
Yeah, and also there's a lot more of that going on TikTok than there is on Instagram. Instagram still has like a certain level of like, please put a ring light on, honey, like that sort of energy. But yeah, it's like thinking about like what's in our feeds from our perspective versus what's in a 2027 bride's feeds or something like those are going to be very different user experiences. I actually was I was talking to my younger sister about this. We were both talking about what we see on Instagram, and because she made a comment to me, which is a comment I hear all the time from young women, which is that, doesn't Instagram make you feel like kind of bad about yourself? And my answer is no. It actually doesn't. I couldn't do my business if it did. Because if you look at, and I showed this to my dad too, it's like if you look at my Explore page, it's mostly like dogs and small business owners like doing the documenting your life and like fun coffee drinks.
Okay.
My algorithm is not toxic because I don't tolerate toxic content. I see it and I swipe right past it. I don't get like pulled into it. And part of it's because I understand how if I watch it, I will get more of it. And so I make the intention not to. But her stuff is very, very skinny talk. Okay. Like very, very wellness, but wellness to the point that it's toxic. Right? And like that sort of thing.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah. So it's very much how you use the app is what you will get.
So I feel like I get that from Instagram more than from other platforms.
Yes.
Where like before this, we were looking at the new feature where you get to choose and, we're popping open. I'm like terrified of what's going to show up. Like, what am I engaging with? Like, which is like, but because you never know what's on, like how the algorithm sees you, but the way that the algorithm saw me was very I mean, there was a couple of things that were off there. I forget what they were, but like the very top two were like memes and like funny videos. And I'm like, I swear, every time I open Instagram, that is all I get, and I love it. I'll sit there for hours. Like, it's not where I engage with news or with small business stuff. Like that's a platform that I use when I want to have laughs and things that are fairly family friendly for my kids to watch as well. So
See, and what I have a lot of is like I see a lot of small business stuff. I see a lot of motivational and productivity stuff. I've been trying to eat healthier. It's not going awesome, but I'm trying. And so it gave me on that algorithm, like so there's a little thing when you go into your Reels feed, there's going to be a little button for if you are in an English speaking space, which you probably are if you're listening to me speak English. Um, retrospectively.
we're running this through Hey Jen to put it in all sorts of languages.
Oh, goodness gracious. But there's a little button up on the top right-hand corner. I know my lefts and rights. In the right-hand corner, and it shows you the algorithm. And so one of the things that was on there was it said high-protein meals and it said low-calorie meals. And so what I did is I left high-protein meals, but then I selected move low-calorie meals to see less of because I don't want to be put into that section. So basically what I'm saying with the algorithm here is that it's rewarding consumer behavior. It is rewarding consumer behavior. So as people are feeling the need to feel more comforted, or people are feeling the need to like have that, then it will do well. And when people start to kind of pendulum shift back over, that will adjust. But also pay attention to your industries.
Harry Potter. That's what the algorithm had me liking, Harry Potter. And I told Liz, I was like, this doesn't make sense. But anyways, let's keep going. So I've been hearing more about the zero-click reality for Instagram and how, the platforms are now penalizing us for trying to move people out of the platform onto the website, onto a landing page, or to a link tree or whatnot. So how do you advise that a client can win on Instagram when Instagram wants to, wants their whole engagement with the user to stay within the platform?
Yeah, so, okay. Zero click, I tend to think of being a bigger issue on platforms like Facebook or LinkedIn where you're putting links into your posts. You should not be putting links into your Instagram posts. Like that is not clickable. That is not a format that works. Don't do that. But it's remembering the purpose of the post, right? So if you're sharing content that is for education or awareness or deepening a relationship, then you don't need to direct anybody off of this app. It's not a thing you need to do. But if you are looking for conversions, then you know what? It's okay if it's not your highest reaching post. It's not supposed to be.
Okay.
So you can always use you can direct people to your link in your bio. It's incredibly boring. Be more creative, but you can. That's the only place that you can really click things outside of link stickers on your stories, on your Instagram stories. But then you also have, the option to incorporate things like mini chat automations. Just make sure you're doing, the double opt-ins and like following all the protocols. Like they tell you what they are, but people are like, oh, look, I don't want to make them hit 2 buttons. Have them hit 2 buttons. Follow the rules. Make sure you're opting into your email stuff. Cheating the rules only ever works in the short term. It will hurt you in the long run every single time. But using it that way, you can use mini chat automations to welcome new followers. You can use, and I'm not sponsored by them. I don't have an affiliate link for them, unfortunately. But you can
If we get that, we'll post it below.
But like you can use it to have them comment a keyword so that they can see a thing, like so that they can be given a download, or you can have them start a conversation. And maybe that automation has a conversation for a little bit with like questions prompting before you send them the deliverable. Like there's a lot of different ways to kind of play with that, but thinking of it as, I know as a business owner, we want to get them as fast as we can to the checkout page, like ideally.
Yeah.
But that's not what social is actually for. If you want that, do meta ads.
Fair. Okay. Yeah. That makes sense. So, all right, then let's talk about like building a community on Instagram or outside of Instagram.
Sure.
Right? Because as we talk about like social, one of the things that seems like it's been growing in use is DMs, right? And leveraging DMs to connect with people, as a business or as a content creator. But also there's a lot of businesses and creators who are now leveraging things like Discord or these private chat communities to where they can have a community where they go deeper and engage in a different way versus kind of this broader reach. What are some of your thoughts around that? Do you see that move happening? And
Yeah, so I definitely see. I was actually at a marketing meetup like 2 weeks ago, and we were talking about this, and they were very much like hoping that we have more like people on like Circle or on
uh-huh.
like I do think that that's still a little bit optimistic. Like we may be working our way that direction, but we are
Uh-huh.
not there yet. Because there's a high degree of friction between moving somebody from one platform into one that they're not regularly using.
Yes.
Okay, now that being said, we are seeing a little bit of people trying to actively limit their screen time. Now, I think that's going to be a thing for about another 3 weeks, and then we'll be far enough away from the new year that people are going to fall back into the same habits they've had.
Hmm.
But maybe that's me just being a little pessimistic. Um, you have seen Instagram make adjustments to accommodate, or to even, not even just accommodate, but prioritize one-on-one or small group interactions.
Uh-huh.
So I mentioned at the beginning of this episode that we moved where the messenger button is.
Yes.
We moved it to where the post button used to be.
Uh-huh.
Because sending messages back and forth is a big part of it. There's even been some anecdotal conversation around, is a share that is shared in messages more valuable than sharing to your stories? Again, not a computer scientist, so
Uh-huh.
can't read the code, but there's a little bit of conversation around that because it means that it resonated so much that they wanted to send it to that somebody went, this is for you.
Okay.
Like, you get what I mean
Yeah,
there?
I
And
do.
like that level of intent
Uh-huh.
is pretty high.
Okay.
So there's that.
Yeah, that's a totally different way to engage, right? I mean, it's much deeper and personal.
Yeah, exactly. So we're also seeing subscriber channels on Instagram once you hit that certain level, right? We talked about
Uh-huh.
that when we were mentioning
Yeah.
followers. So they're building small communities, and I actually am a subscriber on Instagram to one of those type of channels, and it's very
Interesting.
interesting. They've got like a paid group that's like a small like forum sort of group, in addition to subscriber stories and subscriber posts for better content, higher, more in-depth content, and that sort of deal.
Okay.
So they're incorporating that. We've also got broadcast channels, which is, that's a one to many. You're not really having people respond back into that
Uh-huh.
necessarily, but you're seeing Instagram kind of bend and twist its way into, I think, probably trying to make it where you don't need to do that. Just like how they kind of, Instagram has a bit of a habit of borrowing the best features from other things
Well,
and
yeah.
going, this is mine.
Yeah, I was
Um,
gonna say I've seen that in YouTube. I've seen that on TikTok. I mean, seen it in YouTube for a while now. I've seen it on TikTok. I had not realized that Instagram had that. But maybe the people posting the funny videos of people falling don't have a subscribe button.
No, that's probably going to be more information services or influencers
Okay.
that are going to have things like
All
that.
right.
Or like, maybe a small product, or maybe a product-based business that releases if they sell out frequently, releases their drop to their broadcast channel first,
Okay.
to create that sense of urgency. Or rewarding it with like, how like if you subscribe for a mailing list, you get 10% off of something, like that sort of energy.
Okay. All right. So I want to go into something that we've talked about before. I
Okay.
know that we touched on it today too much, but that's length of content,
Right.
right? You've talked a little bit about long form content in the past. So are you seeing a boost in terms of reels that are running over 90 seconds, right? Because that seemed to be like one of the magic amounts of times that people said try to keep your reel below 90 seconds. And seems like, every time I go on Instagram now, the reels are getting a little bit longer and a little bit longer.
Yeah, okay. So the way that it works as of right this second, and this is something that shifts, is it said like it was that videos that are longer than 3 minutes do not get distributed past your followership.
Okay.
All right. So that 90-second to 3-minute window has been available on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
Watch time is what's important,
Uh-huh.
right? So if you have somebody who watches 75% of a 60-second video versus somebody that watches 75% of a 100-second video,
Mm-hmm.
which one has longer watch time? It's the second
Carry
one.
the one. It's a
right?
second.
So when you put, and the same thing is like when you put out long form content on YouTube, right? It's you're more likely to get large watch hours once you start having people go to the longer form content because there's more stuff for them to watch in a row.
Yeah.
So I think you're seeing that. So it's, you don't want to drag your stuff out just for the sake of dragging your stuff out, but you do have the flexibility if you have more things to say in an engaging way or more things to do or show in an engaging way. You have the flexibility for that, but I don't think there's like a magic, like, you hit 92 seconds, so we're going to show you to more. I think it's, oh, people are consistently watching all 92 seconds of this. And because they're consistently watching all 92 seconds of this, we think it's better than the people who are watching all 17 seconds of your 17-second video.
Interesting. Do you think that's tied to like Instagram wanting us to spend more time in the platform? Because that seems to be a trend that we talked about
I
today.
think everything is tied, and not just on Instagram, every social media channel.
Uh-huh.
Like when you get, Instagram aside, when you get something for free, there's nothing that's actually truly free, right? So how do they make money? They make money by collecting data on you and how you use this app, right? Your interests, they literally just showed you in the algorithm thing where it listed out how much data they've collected
Yeah.
on the things that you like over time. So they are literally collecting data on you and then using that to optimize the Meta Ads Andromeda, which is their new meta advertising, like AI placement software, which that's a whole other video, and I understand that, but they're using that type of interests understanding to create better performing ads so businesses invest more money into their ads manager so that they make more money serving ads. So the longer you're on there watching things that you're interested in, the better they can tailor that experience.
The more
Right?
ads you get as well.
Yeah, well, maybe. I think they are going to work to make sure that that balance is okay. Otherwise, people aren't going to watch it because they're not going to like it anymore. Because you have to have a really good user experience to retain the amount of ridiculous amount of time that we spend on these apps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like Instagram is better than like TikTok when it comes to some of that. Because TikTok, I feel like after I watch something that I like, it's always ad, live, sponsored. I can swipe 3 times automatically.
Yep.
It's before I get to the next one that will
But
work.
yeah, and the other thing about the longer video type stuff is that part of what we talked about before with the engaging type content and the is people do want a little bit deeper, which often does translate to a little bit longer because it takes a little more time to share nuanced things than it does to share basic generic for everybody things.
What?
Yeah, it's almost like Why I Ramble or something. I don't know.
All right, so we are now reaching the end of this,
Yes.
which has been a fun and entertaining episode. So I want to give you the platform to share a little bit here with the business owners who are listening. So if they are learning a new skill this month to survive the next algorithm shift, what is one skill that they need to develop?
Right. So, and if you watch this podcast regularly, listen to this podcast regularly, you probably have a very good guess as to what I'm going to say. If you're only focusing on algorithm shifts, if you're focusing on surviving the next, like if you're the next thing, and this is something I hear all the time, I just want to know how to get past the next thing, you are going to feel like you are chasing your tail constantly. And you're a business owner. Content creators, we could have a more nuanced conversation about the value of like some of that, but it really comes down to learning how to tell stories with the what's in it for them in mind. Why does the person on the other end of the screen care? And if you can tell stories in that way, it will not matter what the algorithm does because your content will be good enough to survive it. And then it'll just come down to tweaks, which is not a whole skill set. Because it is this like, oh, if we're like trying to like constantly fit to the perfect trend, like that's not how, it's not sustainable. So that's kind of that's a whole soapbox for me, but learn how to tell stories about your business in a way that serves your audience or your consumer.
Very good. And one last curveball.
Boy.
If there's someone who's listening, a business owner who they have not started using Instagram yet. Is it too late for them?
Oh gosh, no.
All right, so get started on Instagram and keep following us for more tips. We'll see you next time, everyone.
Bye.